I constantly see people online hoping for improvements to the warfare in Crusader Kings 3, either in the form of more men-at-arms, or simply new mechanics to add that extra layer of challenge and fun into your playthroughs. Well, I made a list of 13 mods that together can hopefully achieve that for you. If not though, I'm sure you will have fun with today's sponsor. Ace Defender is a high-quality SRPG combining turn-based RPG battles with tower defense elements, giving you nearly 2,000 levels to complete, while following the story of the Dragon Clan's rebellion that threatened the balance of good and evil in the world. And Alapida, the Silver Dragon Princess, uses the power of the Creation Crystal to summon heroes to fight the evil. Currently, there are 5 different hero factions: Divine, Demon, Shadow, Nature, and Light, starting with 48 different heroes, and 2 more being released every 2 weeks, which is amazing to be able to continue leveling up new heroes, combining them and equipping different gear to build the ultimate lineup. There is also 3 gameplay modes: Expedition, which is the solo mode; PvE, where you can explore dungeons, regions, and compete in trials, which is an amazing way to collect rare items and level up your heroes. And finally, PvP, so you can fight other players within your server or across servers with multiple lineups. And if you download the game from the first link in the description, you will get 10 Royal Recruit tickets after completing level 2.8. And you can use these tickets by going in the tavern in Sky City. Anyway, let's jump straight into the warfare mods. First up, we have Advanced Casus Belli. This adds 3 new Casus Belli to the game, and it's great for when you just want a war, but you're stuck with a court chaplain with the learning skill of a newborn child, making a decent claim impossible. The first is Border Dispute, allowing you to start a war for a county you border with. But this does cause some tyranny and losing you 150 fame and 100 piety. But this is just a nice little way to capture a county without waiting for a claim. The second is Dominate, and the winner will receive money from the loser. And there's a 25% chance you become rivals, which is very important for the final Casus Belli. Humiliate rival, gaining you a decent amount of prestige and fame while causing them to lose some. And what I think is really cool about this though is it causes all family members to hate each other. Basically, both dynasties will become rivals, and I just think that's a great addition to the game. So next up we have Vassals To Arms with the AI submod. Now, I have covered Vassals To Arms a few times on the channel, but to quickly go over it for anyone who doesn't know, it will give a notification to the defender's vassals in a war. And depending on a few factors, they may join in to help defend, especially if they're going to lose land, or if their liege will change, they might join. But the AI submod basically aims to make the AI a little bit smarter, allowing them to calculate the potential power of the extra defenders in a war. So let's just say they go to attack a kingdom, and a duke stands to lose all their titles if the attacker wins. The attacker will have the ability to realize this and make more sensible decisions. So you won't see large kingdoms just running full force into wars. They stand no chance of winning. And I think this is now just an essential addition to run besides the Vassals To Arms mod. At number 3 we have War Alerts. You get a new decision that opens even more decisions, which is great for keeping track of how other people who choose to follow are getting on, with 9 new decisions in total, with options such as getting alerts when your family, house, or dynasty get into wars, or if your vassals are having peasant revolts. My favourites though is pinned character wars and neighbour realm wars, as these can be insanely useful to keep track of people around the world that might be of interest to you. And then there's vassal wars. This just gives you a heads up if your vassals are fighting each other, who started it, what county they're after. So yeah, it's just a nice little quality of life improvement. Next up we have Knight Manager. This was included in my 16 must-have mods for CK3, and nothing's changed. It's just an essential mod for me, and it definitely fits the theme of today's video. Knight Manager gives you 8 different options to manage who can and can't fight. Now, I do find this an absolute lifesaver. Like, literally, the ability to just forbid my councillors from fighting is incredibly useful, as I always forget to do this, and it always ends up with my amazing steward just going into battle and getting destroyed by some 6'2" Norse beast. So yeah, don't be like me, use Knight Manager. Now there are also a few other options such as stopping dynasty members, your heir, all of your children, and family spouses, which prevents any of your children's partners from going off to battle. So it's just another super useful mod to stop people you don't want dying. Player can join Populist faction is such a great mod for games where you want to play a vassal. And I've not long actually discovered this mod, but let's just say you're under a ruler of a different faith or culture, and people of your culture decide to form a Populist faction. You actually have the ability to join in and help fight for your people's freedom. And of course, add members if you have hooks and so on. And this is a feature that's missing from vanilla, and I have no idea as to why, but this mod does exactly that. And if you win and the faction leader's primary title is higher than yours, you will become their vassal. And if not, you will just stay with your liege. But it's still cool to just be able to join in these wars, but I do wish you could actually start them yourself. So next up, we have Battlefield Duel. And this mod just adds so much to make each and every battle stand out from one another. Now this does only activate if you are commanding the army, and it just adds so much flavour and even more ways to progress your character to make them even stronger on the battlefield. So you will sometimes get a pop-up allowing you to sweep, which will basically just decide instantly if you win or lose. And then there's the attack option, which uses the normal duel mode. I'm sure you're all used to that. And the last option, special, it comes up occasionally, and it gives you the opportunity to face the enemy commander. And then you can decide if you want to fight them or send your best knight. But this obviously can be risky, as your knight can just be killed. And I find it actually really useful as well in wars. If you're like just losing, you can sometimes kill the commander and flip the war around. Now, to actually improve your character, if you kill 30 people, you get the Berserker trait. And you can gain the Holy Warrior trait by killing 15 people from a hostile faith. And another thing I really like is you sometimes get chivalry traits like Blades Master that levels up with like 5, 10, 15, and then 20 kills. So if you're just after another way to better roleplay as just an absolute savage on the battlefield, then this mod is definitely for you. Prisoners of War just adds so much immersion to, well, prisoners during wars. Typically, in the base game, you capture someone and they just teleport to the attacker's land. Well, not anymore. This makes it so everyone caught during a war is tied to the capturer's army until they return to friendly territory. So if you capture an important day, it could be worth returning home with your army, as if you're attacked and lose, all the prisoners will be freed, which will cost you a decent chunk of war score. Of course, this works both ways. Your heir could get captured during a war, and you can track the army he's in down, as they will have a new icon that displays who they have held. And you can use this to chase them down and free your family. And it doesn't really need to be said why this makes sense, but like it just adds another layer of strategy and management to wars that I really appreciate. So next up, we have Absolute Emergencies. This allows you to set your realm into a state of emergency. Now, you will need to be an adult with absolute crown authority to activate any of these. The first one is Economic Emergency, and this can only be activated while you're not at war. And there's actually some caps that scale with your rank to decide if you can actually activate this. Such as, if you have less than 50 gold while being a duke, you can activate it. Any more and you can't. And once activated, all counties get the economic boost buff for 10 whole years, giving you a nice minus 25% to build in time and cost, and a pretty insane plus 50% to development growth. All of this does sound pretty broke, but to add some balance, you also get another modifier for 5 years that had some pretty massive impacts. It causes vassals to lose quite a lot of opinion of you, and your levy size will be cut in half. Now, the other emergency is Military Emergency. That gives every single county the inhumane treatment modifier for 10 years, losing you 50 popular opinion. Basically gives the opposite effect as the economic one, massively boosting your levy size and martial skill at the expense of your economy. So yeah, this mod really can come in clutch in some tough situations, but it's not something you will ever really want to activate. It's just a great backup plan to have. HOC is a pretty big mod, as sometimes the amount of unique men-at-arms can be pretty apparent, and sometimes it feels like they lack any flavour. Well, this is where HOC comes in, and it adds loads of new men-at-arms across the whole world by adding some historical units into the game. I'm not going to show them all, of course, but I'll give some examples. There are the Highlanders of Scotland, a powerful skirmisher unit that's unlocked in the early era. Then there's the Welsh Longbowmen, and these are pretty insane archers, also from the early era, with an attack of 38. So using these could be pretty insane, and no, I'm not biased. As well as that, you have the French Skara cavalry for the French, and the Moorish cavalry for the Berber culture. I mean, there's just so many more added here. There is a full list on their Steam page, so if you want to see each and every one, go check that out. So next up, we have the Barons Wars. This is a little mod that adds the ability for Baron level rulers to actually revolt against their liege. As currently in CK3, they might as well not exist. You can just do whatever you want to them and they never care. Like, you can just take their titles and nothing ever happens to you. So with this mod, barons can actually refuse you taking their title and defend their land. And they can also join Liberty and Claimant factions against you. So yeah, there's not exactly loads to say here, but I think it's a fun addition to the game for sure. Next up, we have war maps. Now, it does require family matters to work. I'll cover family matters more in depth in the next 5 mods video, but basically it allows you to track your family members around the world to see how they are getting on. But war maps gives you many different map modes to help you better strategize. The first option is war in domains. That shows you each and every person on the map that is currently at war, with red being the rulers and purple being their vassals. And then you have raidable counties, and this is probably the most useful for me. It shows any raidable province in yellow, and the ones with special buildings in a darker yellow. And anything that's already been raided is orange, so it just takes that tedious planning out of your raids. And the third one is fortifications, and this just allows you to quickly see if a province has any fortifications by highlighting them in red, and it gets increasingly darker as they get stronger. And then the last new mode is winter severity. This just shows you how affected an area is by the winter, and it could be really useful to put your winter soldiers to their full potential. I gotta say, I really love this mod. It's just super useful to have, not gonna lie. And then last up, we have dynamic Crusader states. This has quickly become many people's favourite mod, and this allows you to form a Crusader state in the enemy's land. All you have to do is siege a full duchy in the war target's land. Of course, it can't be the main target like Jerusalem, and once you do manage to capture the land, you get some options to form a Crusader state. You can add it into your already controlled domain, give it to your beneficiary, or the most dramatic option, just leave all your titles behind and just move to your new duchy. That does give me some Mad Lad vibes, but hey, it's an option if you want to do that. And this is just really useful as it gives you a chance to set up a powerful outpost near the Holy Lands. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy and you found some mods you do want to use. But I did want to end the video with a massive thank you to all the channel members. We have Bayek Von Quark, Arcane, Damien, Intermia 1, Irrelevant, Luke Jarrett, and Zigadelic. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.